Okay, so here we are with a special, I would want to say episode 73, just because it's so awesome, but episode 4, and today we're going to be talking about the Warriors and this epic season that just concluded. A regular season that just concluded. And what an amazing season this has been. And what we're going to do today is talk about this season, some of the highlights, some of the lowlights, and just go from there. There's a lot more highlights than lowlights. There's only 9 lowlights that I can think of. So, so I actually wanted to start this particular podcast with me chanting Warriors, but I realized that sounds really lame when you're by yourself and not in a stadium full of 17,000 other people. But that's pretty much shows you how excited I am. The fact that I wanted to chant Warriors just to start the podcast. This is mind-blowingly exciting. And watching this team from a young age, I've talked about it before, watching some of the seasons with Speedy Claxton and drafting Todd Fuller and signing Donald Foyle to $50 million contracts and all these things that we've done makes what we're doing right now so much sweeter. 73 wins. Are you kidding me? 73-9. We went through an entire season losing only 9 games. And almost all those games were due to the fact that someone was injured or we just lacked focus. We beat ourselves, and the other team was making every single shot. And it's just been... Last night, I watched the game. I actually couldn't watch it in the Bay Area, which I was super bummed about. I was on a work trip up in Seattle, so I watched it at this grimy bar near the airport in Seattle while an old man was literally doing karaoke right next to the TV screen. That was my situation. But I didn't care. I said, sing on, old man. I want to watch this game. I'm so freaking excited to watch this game because we knew. Once they beat the Spurs on Sunday, you knew that they were going to win. There was no way in hell that they were going to come home and lose to the Grizzlies, the depleted Grizzlies. If they had Gasol and Conley, it maybe would have been a game, but they didn't, and it wasn't a game. It was freaking awesome. Curry was out of control. One of the best games I've seen Steph Curry have in a while now. Towards the end of the season, he looked tired. He looked really tired. And specifically, the game against the Timberwolves at home, I thought he was sick or he had the flu. He might even, and it just never came out. He looked horrible. He looked like he was sleepwalking out there, and he just looked tired. And I thought maybe this season is catching up to him. Maybe going for 73 was a mistake. Maybe we should have rested people. But Draymond Green said in a press conference, which was so true, he's like, dude, I'm 26 years old. I'm not 35. I don't need to rest. I can rest when I'm older. And it's true. He's totally fine. They're young. This is what they can do. And 4 years from now, when he's 30, like my age, he'll be feeling it. Seriously, I went bowling once and my arm hurt the next day. That's the type of things that happen to me now. But let's not talk about me. Let's talk about this Warriors team. Okay, some of the interesting things now that the season has concluded will Steph Curry be the first player to be a unanimous MVP? He just joined the 40-50-90 club, which means 40% from three-point land, 50% field goal shooting, and 90% free throws, which is only a club I think Steve Nash and Steve Kerr are in. So if your name's Steve or Steph, you're fine. You can join that club. But it's an elite club. He joined that. He also was the leader in points per game, which is not usually hand in hand when it comes to that percentage. With the 50-40-90 club, you usually don't also lead the league in scoring. And his team went frickin' 73-9. Come on, dude. It has to be unanimous, but some old dingus is going to vote for somebody else just to prove the fact that no one should be unanimous. Someone is. a Bulls guy is going to, or a Spurs guy, some old writer who's like, if Michael Jordan never did it back in the day, then neither should Steph Curry. And that's bullshit to me. I think if a guy proves that he was the best player out there and he was on the best team in our lifetime, then this is the time for unanimous MVP. Not that it really matters, and I'm getting really amped up about it, but obviously I'm insanely biased, and I think Kawhi Leonard was amazing, and so was Russell Westbrook and all the other guys that could get MVP votes. But give me a break. That's Steph Curry. That is Steph Curry 100%. But we'll see what happens. But don't be shocked if one old dude from Chicago or one old dude from San Antonio votes for Kawhi Leonard, or I don't even know who the Bulls guy would vote for, but just don't be shocked. And then the Coach of the Year thing, I heard, and I don't know if this is 100% true, that Kerr and Walton are going to be on the ballot, which is absurd. They're one and the same. It shouldn't be, Kerr against Walton, because they're going to probably lose votes to each other. It's just the Warriors coach, and they were both so amazing for what they did, and they're so different in their styles, but they have the same philosophy, but in different styles, in that Luke Walton's more laid back and chill and not going to yell at you, and Kerr is going to smash his clipboard and the pen is going to hit him in the face. Like, that's just, they're different. And I think it's a no-brainer that Steve Kerr should. I mean, if your team wins 73 games, I feel like a broken record, you should win every regular season award. It seems like a no-brainer. So, as a Warrior fan, I'm watching the game last night at this dingy bar, and I go back to my hotel room, and I'm so excited. All I want to do is watch SportsCenter all night that talks about 73. And frickin' Kobe Bryant. That's all they talked about. That guy not showed us up, but stole the show. I mean, yeah, he did score 60 points in his finale. Whoopity-doo. It was like an all-star game, though. If you watched it, like, they passed him the ball every time. He shot 50 shots. I mean, you give me the ball and tell me to shoot 50 times, I'll score 30. I mean, come on. That's just baloney, and I just didn't like that there was so much coverage on that. Obviously, like I said, I'm just incredibly biased, but I still think that there should have been more coverage on the Warriors. I mean, this is something that could easily be something that we'll never see broken. I mean, come on, can you imagine 74-8? Like, try to sit down and try to think of anything you do, win 74 times and lose 8. I mean, is this one of the best records ever? Is this more impressive than the Miami Dolphins going undefeated in a season? Possibly. I mean, you could argue that, honestly. But like I've said previously in episode 2, it's going to all come down to the championship. And the Warriors know that. If we lose this, it depends really what round we lose it in. If we lose to the Spurs in the conference finals, or if we lose to the Cavaliers in the finals, it's insanely disappointing, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be as bad as losing in the first 2 rounds. Obviously, the cherry on top to this unbelievable season will be this championship. And we have all the tools. We're healthy right now. We're confident, more confident than ever. Like, there should be no one that can stop us. And I am so incredibly excited for this. And our first upcoming series is going to be against the Rockets. We beat the Rockets when they had their swagger. They do not have their swagger this year. They are all messed up in the head. And it's going to be really interesting to see how things pan out with that. But my guess is that it'll be similar to last series. They'll win one. Harden's too good to not win one. I think that we're going to win in 5 in that first. But you never know. That's the thing. It's sports. Crazier things have happened. But I think Warriors in 5 in that first series. You can't predict the next series, and I'll be in next podcast because I don't want to start talking about the Clippers when it could be the Blazers or someone else. So we'll talk about that next series later. But the Rockets, we should have them. Rockets play not great defense at all. Harden's a one-sided player. He's all offense. Dwight Howard is a mind case. Is that even a term, mind case? Well, I made it up. He's a mind case. And their other guys are good. Don't get me wrong. They played us well, but I just don't think they have enough firepower. But I'm knocking on wood. Did you hear that? I actually knocked on wood. Hopefully we can get this one out. Just, take it game by game. Don't overlook this series. So before I sign off here, I wanted to just kind of talk about some of my favorite games this season. And some that come to the top of my head was the Thunder game at the Thunder when Curry hit that bang shot with, 0.6 seconds left. That was one of my favorite games that I've seen ever. And we talked about that, I think, in the last podcast. But the fact that Iguodala hit 2 free throws to bring us to that situation, I mean, come on. That guy can't hit 2 free throws in a row to save his life, and he did it then. So, I mean, it was pretty freaking awesome. I love that game, and I'm so glad that I was able to watch that game. I try not to miss any games, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do in life. But I'm really glad I was able to see that game. Another one of my favorite games was beating the Spurs. Just this last Sunday in San Antonio. That was as good of a game as you can ask for as well. And it was defensive minded, and it was gritty, and there was a lot of emotion to it because they had the undefeated home season streak on the line as well. So they had something on the line. And when we won that game, dude, I went batshit crazy. You can ask my friends. I went too crazy, but that's a whole nother story. It was awesome. That was an amazing game, and it felt like the playoffs, and there's so much to it that was amazing. And that one, it pretty much in our minds set in stone that we were going to win 73. It also, we hadn't won since 1997. God, 1997, what were we doing in 1997? God, I was wearing overall jean shorts. I was listening to Hanson probably. I mean, things have changed a lot. I mean, if I had those overall jean shorts, I'd probably wear them again. But so much has changed. I mean, that's, 17, 18 years? That is bad math. 19 years? That is insane. Like, that is unbelievable. And I can't talk enough about that. And just, that game was one of the best games. And to get that mental edge saying that we can win in San Antonio, that's not impossible. That's going to be huge if we play them in the Western Conference Finals. So keep that in mind if we ever do. And then lastly, the last game. I mean, I know I talked about it when I first started, but that was one of my favorites. We looked like the Warriors of old. We had so many some of our lowlights lately was when we lost to the Celtics at home. That was, it was one of those games where you thought we'd come back and you're just expecting things to happen, and it didn't. And then another low light was the Timberwolves. That might have been my biggest low light. I think after that game, I was in a fetal position on my couch. No joke. You can ask my fiance. It was one of the more pathetic sights you'll ever see. But that's just what made last Sunday and the game against the Grizzlies just so much sweeter. And it was just, it just made it all worth it. And nothing that's worth having comes easy. And there's never been a more prime example than winning 73 and watching these games and watching them grind it out. And it was an amazing season. So I'll be doing a lot more podcasts when it comes to the Warriors, because I'm going to try to do one every series, but hopefully they do Rockets in 5, and we just continue the way we played in this last game. That's the old Warriors, passing, dunking, making baskets, having fun out there, and I think we will. I love Draymond Green. I just want to say that. I wasn't even part of what I was talking about, but I love that guy, and he's one of my favorite professional athletes I've ever watched That's baseball, that's basketball, that's hockey, that's football. I mean, it's everything. I think he is my favorite ever, and that's really saying something. I love that guy. So I'm excited to see what's next. Hopefully we get it done. But I'll be doing these. I'm going to keep these a little bit shorter just because I know that they can get a little bit boring when they're about 45 minutes long. So I'm going to be sticking to the 15 to 20 minute time frame. So at the end of this, I always wanted you guys to give a little feedback, maybe write in the comments section some questions you have on the Warriors or some predictions you have or something that you want to ask me specifically about what I think about the Warriors. So put that in the comments section and I'll be sure to answer them in my next podcast. All right, guys, thank you, and I will talk to you soon.